Driving a car on a gravel rally stage is the most fun that you can have with your clothes on. We're used to powerful Mahindras. We are used to Mahindras that handle really well. We of course created a lot of content around the XUV300. But this is the most powerful Mahindra in the country. This is the fastest Mahindra in the country, in the world in fact. This is the Super XUV300 built by Arka Motorsport for Mahindra Adventure and piloted by the likes of Gaurav Gill and Amitrajit Ghosh in the Indian National Rally Championship. And we are at the Coimbatore windmill stages to test this beast out. So the Super XUV is not only the fastest Mahindra that I've driven, but on this kind of terrain, these kind of conditions, it is the fastest I've ever driven, period. So sequential gearbox to get going, press the clutch, pull it towards you, and that's it. You don't need the clutch anymore. It's been a while since I've driven a rally car, and especially a rally car on gravel. So my frame of reference is a little off. But what I can really feel is the turbocharged torque. The last rally car I drove was the Arka spec with a 1.6 liter NA engine, and that you really had to scream it. But here, there's just so much torque, and it very hell is quick. At the heart of every rally car is the suspension and this, the engine. Now, this is the 1.2-liter turbocharged petrol engine from the XUV300, but it has been boosted to now make 200 horsepower at the wheel, 215 at the crank. Just to give you a frame of reference, the stock engine makes around 110, so it is almost double. Torque has gone up to 300 Newton meters, and it can go up even more. It can be adjusted, the boost pressure can be adjusted. Right now, it is running at 1.45 bar. This out here, that's the larger turbo. So that's the bit under the gold leaf. That actually is gold leaf. So it's got a larger turbo. The engine internals have been beefed up. So it's got beefed up pistons, connecting rods. The crank is standard. The injectors are standard. Cooling, very important. So it's got a custom radiator. Below that is the new intercooler. And to the side of it is the new oil cooler. Breathing also very important. So this is the new intake for the engine. It also has to be mounted very strongly in the chassis. So this is the custom engine mount. The engine mount, the gearbox mount, all are custom. I must also show you the brake bias that's out there. And you can adjust the brake bias from the inside. That is to adjust the brake feel for the driver. The top mounts are also new. Controlling the engine is the Haltech ECU. The ECU is mounted inside the car and it's got custom maps for everything, which also interfaces with the stock ECU. And as for the brakes, it runs the standard brakes. The brakes on the XUV300, the road car, also gets disc brakes at the rear. So all 4 wheels disc brakes. So standard discs, but with uprated competition spec pads. So that's what goes into making this a really powerful rally car. You really have to adapt your head around to driving a rally car. Left foot braking. Been a while since I did all of this. But I guess half an hour in a rally car and it
back those reflexes. How to throw a car into the corners. Of course, I'm not driving this anywhere close to its potential. But God, I think this is a problem. This is a problem. I shouldn't have driven this car because now this rallying fog has gotten back into me. And that sort of fog is a bloody drug.
So you can put in the most powerful engine into a rally car, but it has to handle, it has to be able to take in all these rough tracks, and it has to be able to go through gravel corners at serious speed. The suspension, that is what enables it. This is the Rieger damper. This is a 60 mm tube. It is a step up on the dampers that are used currently in the Indian National Rally Championship. It is a 3-way adjustable damper, 2 hydraulic pistons. This is the canister. It's got fast rebound. It's got hydraulic bump stop. This is a custom knuckle that has been designed for the Super XUV. It also has a custom rear suspension and it's got custom geometry at the rear. And it runs on JK tires. These are the 15-inch gravel tires, the Ultima XRG2 tires. There is also a tarmac spec tire for tarmac rallies.
It's just taking the pump so well, giving me the confidence to drive it so much faster than probably sensible for. What I am a newbie now. If you are out of rally for so many years, you have to learn everything over and over again. So this sequential gearbox, just pull it, a slight lift off the gas when you're upshifting, and that's it. So downshift, tap, tap, down 2 gears, tap again, down 1 more gear. Slide it in. The setup of the Super XUV is such that when you turn the car into the corner, the rear, it actually comes out. So you don't have to dial in opposite lock. So going into a corner, and the rear has come out, but I don't have to counter correct. So that lets you stay on the power for longer. Your wheels are pointing straight, so it can put down all the power. Leela has been legendary in the way he sets up his rally cars. My first rally cars, the CDS, were all done by him. And they just gave me so much confidence to drive fast, get those times, get those podiums. And it's the same with this. Obviously also, Gaurav Gill's genius at work here. But this car, I think is the best rally car that I have driven.
If you notice, the stance of this car is a little off, is it not? It's running 15-inch wheels. The road car runs 17-inch wheels, so those fill up the wheel arches. This does not fill up the wheel arches. But you can't lower the car anymore because then it will hit on the stages. Our stages are a bit rough, so it has to maintain this ride height. So you have this big gap in the wheel arch, but that's because you only get 15-inch size for this gravel rally tire. The car has also been adapted to the 15-inch tire. The big difference between the 500 and this 300 is this one is so easy to drive. I remember the 500, it needed solid amount of strength. You really had to hustle that thing. It was like a truck. They all used to call it a truck or a bus. I don't know what they used to call it. But that car, you had to set it up before the corner. Before you went into a corner, it should have been set up so then it would go through the corner. Otherwise, no. So a mile before the corner, you had to be ready and set up and all of that. So you had to be really precise, but also you had to muscle it. Whereas this, you drive it like the Polos that we drove, except because it really leans into the outside tires, you get a little more grip, you get a little more confidence. It is as easy to drive as the Polos that I drove in the past, but it is significantly quicker. The turbocharged power, 200 horsepower at the wheels is a lot of power, but the car can handle it and the engine can actually handle more power. The power can go up to almost 250 horsepower. The stock engine is that strong. And that brings me to my concluding thought, and that is This engine, which is there in the Super XUV, that can actually be replicated on a road car. The Arka Motorsport guys, they've just done a bigger turbo and a Haltech ECU on a road car, and they've got nearly 200 horsepower at the wheel of a road car. The 300 actually has a lot of tuning potential. Nobody really looks at it as a car that you can tune, but it actually can, and I've driven this car and I know that it can. I must also talk about the tires. Now, these JK tires, all gravel tires for that matter, to find traction and grip on these kind of surfaces, to put down 200 horsepower, that is saying something. These rally tires are brilliant. Without proper rally tires, no matter what you do to the engine, no matter what you do to the suspension, you are not going to get a stage time. So rally tires are a crucial part of it. And this is handling 200 horsepower. No wonder it is all gone now. But we always did one full stage, and with me driving, where I was driving in a lower gear, spinning the tires. So these tires really hats off. And I believe JK Tyre has a full new set of tires that are getting ready for the next gravel rally whenever that happens. But they have a new tire in development, and that should really drop the times over the stage. Also, these dampers, these with the hydraulic bump stop and the fast rebound, what it does is when you're hitting those bumpy patches, it just stays so much more settled, planted. The rear, it doesn't hop, doesn't throw you up. So in our early rally cars, you could carry that kind of pace on the straights, but you really had to fight the car. You had to be like really, really brave and aggressive, foot on the floor, hold the steering wheel, fight the car and keep it there. Whereas this is easier. It's just easier, which means better drivers can drive it faster. Novice drivers like me can drive it harder. You can get into 5th gear, just about get into 6th gear on the straight over here. Driving a car on a gravel rally stage is the most fun that you can have with your clothes on. Now, don't get me wrong, driving a sports car on a racetrack, you're sliding the car around, you're pushing it hard, fast, feeling those G-forces, all that is great. But when you drive a rally car, hard, fast, on a gravel stage, you're playing around with the car, not fighting it, but you're playing around with the car, you're feeling the tail come out, you're giving it all the gas, you're giving it all the talent in the world that you have. It is, oh man, it's immense. This is a bad idea. Honestly, when you get into a rally car on a rally stage and you start driving, that puts that drug back in your veins. It's an addiction. It's now, I'm thinking of ways and means in which, get back into rallying. How do I get into rallying? Who do I call for a car? How do I get a car prepared? When do I test? It's madness. I have another thing to focus on. I got my other work to focus on. But you drive a rally car and it just brings everything back into you. This is immense. Hey, why did you make me do this, man?